I haven't really talked this morning yet. I'm just in bed with my coffee. I've been here for about, I'm not even wearing my watch. I've been here for the past hour working on job number 1, which is my business LOD. Go follow if you haven't already, or catch up on just whatever we're doing. If you feel like you can support, please do. It would mean the world to me. But it's been a fun little project, so I've been working on that this morning. Time to get up and get ready for job number 2, which is my actual job. I have a couple meetings, a couple presentations today for that, and then after that I go to job number 3, which is my first day of training at Good Life. I'm starting back there today officially, I guess. Everything is opening tomorrow, so I'm doing my first day of training before we open, just to get kind of caught up on stuff. And then yeah, we head to that job for a couple hours, and then we're back here, and yeah, it's gonna be a busy day, so come spend it with me. So the thing is, right, I haven't like dug out my uniform in a while, so I have this like bin in my room that just has all my old uniforms in it, so I'm gonna have to dig this out for tonight and make sure that I find everything else that I need. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to this video. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I always start my day with cleaning my room, getting all the clothes up off the floor and putting them away just to get a fresh start for the day. Okay, so for later I have my water bottles, my work shirt, and then the paperwork that I need to bring. I still need to figure out pants and all that kind of stuff. I have my ongoing bag that I'm packing because I'm going to my friend's this weekend for the first time. I haven't seen this friend for a year. We haven't seen each other during the whole pandemic, and this is like we used to spend every single day together, so I'm really, really excited. So that's being packed. Towel, I need to bring that too. Need to bring some bedding and stuff. But yeah, let's go upstairs and get to my other job. My actual job. By the way, I suppose a lot of people would also consider like YouTube a job as well. It's kind of just for fun to say like, oh, 4 jobs, hahaha. But it's honestly just like my hobby and something that I like to do, and that's the reason why I'm doing multiple jobs, because it's something that I like to do and I want to do it. So just wanted to put that in there. Let's get to work. Yeah, at this point I didn't really have an office because we had 4 people working from home, so I'm in the sewing room. Okay, so with working, I'm gonna just say 2, 3, or 4 jobs, I don't know. With working a lot and kind of piling all these things on my plate right now, I'm gonna kind of talk about how I stay organized with all of those things, because I'm sure like if any of you are watching, you're like, what the heck, how can you even organize any of that in your head and your mind, right? Because 2 of those things are very much self-directed. I do also work from home, which means that my like job is also pretty self-motivated in general, but I have a few different ways to keep myself motivated and to keep like myself on track with a few different things. So first of all, with motivation, that's a whole nother topic which I'll probably dive into in another video, but motivation fluctuates. It's in a range. You can be here motivation or here motivation, and you're never at either end of the spectrum for like very long. It kind of continues to fluctuate between those 2. So don't worry if you're not feeling that motivated. I wasn't having a great day yesterday, and today is just better, and I have more adrenaline because there's so much going on. So yeah, life isn't perfect. Don't let anyone tell you that it is, because that's just not true. But in terms of organization for 4 jobs, okay, so here's the thing. With YouTube, I don't necessarily consider that a job. It's definitely a hobby, and I like doing it. And very similar with, is my lens smeared? Okay, sorry if that was blurry for a minute. I don't really consider it a job because it's definitely a hobby, but in order to consider it a job, it kind of makes it more like seem more legit and make sure that you're wanting to put more work in, right? So with YouTube, it's very self-directed. I don't put out a video every week. It's not consistent, but what I do is it's typically falls around like once every 2 weeks. something along those lines. It might end up being more consistent depending on like what my life is doing at that point. For example, when I was traveling to Halifax, it was really important that I spent the month with my partner, so I didn't film any content because it just wasn't what my priority was at the time. So that's really nice to have that as a job, and something fun to look forward to. So with YouTube, I basically have a few different ways that I organize stuff. Firstly, I have my full planner. Now, this planner has everything by the weeks, so it's split up into months, pages down the side, and then it has like your full week kind of spread out across 2 pages, which is really nice because it gives you a lot of space to like fill stuff in. Oh, this is so funny. So I flipped randomly to a page and it's January, and this was when I was laid off, obviously, because I'm just like trying to fill up the pages with stuff that is nothing. That's funny. Anyways, and then at the front it also has like this monthly tab. Now in there, when I was first working at Good Life, that's where I filled in like my schedule, and now I'm back at Good Life, so I will most likely do this again just so I have it somewhere. The other thing I can do is also put it on my phone. So I have a few different things. This is mainly where I keep all of my to-do lists for every week. So this is what my week looks like this week. This is where I keep all my to-do lists and everything that I actually need to do that is not my job, like my environmental sales job related. So everything they have to do that's not related to that, like my haircut was yesterday, stuff like that, and other things that I have to do. So that's what I use this for, and I just keep it beside me all the time. So as soon as I have something that pops in my head that I need to do, it's right beside me. I can write it down, and then it gets out of my out of my mind, and that's when I can focus on my other work. So that's how that works. Now the other things that I use are for actual work. I have this notebook, which I keep beside my laptop. I write down to-do lists on this for work, and also just random notes that come through when I'm on calls and stuff like that that I need to organize. Now to organize my thoughts there, I do use a highlighter sometimes if my stuff is getting really jumbled, but I also just use different jot notes. So I use arrows, and that means to do. I use little bullet points, and that means like I'm just taking notes. I use little dashes for kind of different things. So that's kind of how I keep that organized, and I keep that beside me. For work, I also have another to-do list that is on, I work in sales, so I do have a to-do list that's on our CRM that's checking in with different clients, keeping up with the progress of what they're doing, what their internal discussions are looking like, what their build progress is looking like if we're working with a new build or a new designer for a kitchen. I have all of that stuff saved on my laptop on our CRM, on my activities, and I keep notes on all of those separate people's personal platforms, basically. So, you know, what their progress is looking like, what I should follow up with, what marketing materials I need to send them, what follow-up calls we need to have, meetings, all that stuff. Then for work, we use Microsoft Teams. So that's how I organize all of my meetings, my calls, my schedules, and what I'm doing that day on Teams. So in the morning, I have a couple things to look at. I also keep different lists on my phone. I'm going to send you some screen recordings of the different lists that I keep. That just means I get to see exactly what I need for each different thing. So for moving or traveling, I have a list for that. So those are usually my packing lists, so they don't get confused with anything else. I have reminders that I set like times for kind of every week, or reminders like just normally that I need to do. I have a to-do list on my phone as well. That's for if I'm out, and it's just things that I need to remind myself that I eventually need to do, but they don't actually have a deadline. So like respond to certain emails that I know I need to work on, or I need to make sure that I schedule this post for LOD in the next 2 days or something. Like I need to work on that continuously, right? So it doesn't have a deadline, so I put it on that to-do list. I also have time blocks in my calendar, and I keep my calendar on a widget on my phone. That and my lists as well, which is just wonderful. I love, love, love having that. But the calendar separates like the different activities that are coming from different email streams. So I have about 4 different email accounts, I believe. That separates based on the color that it's coming from. So all of my work meetings that link to my calendar on my phone, they show up in purple or something, or orange, I think. And then all of the other stuff that links to my personal email or my Good Life email or whatever, those will link up in a different color. And so I get to see all those activities as they happen throughout the day. So that's been really nice as well, and that's kind of how I keep track of things. Now, in terms of structuring my day, as I say, I work a rough 9 to 5. The reason why I say that is because I'm answering emails at 7 in the morning, and I'm also sometimes on calls at 6:30 at night. It's a rough 9 to 5, which is totally fine, but it just means that like I'm just busy constantly in the day. So that's kind of how I schedule everything. I have a lot of lists and calendars and different things, which may seem confusing to some people. Like some people want to keep it all on your phone. I like having things that I can physically write down, so I keep them in a few different places. And I like that when I'm looking at my personal to-do list and my agenda, I'm not looking at my work to-do list, which is on my notebook, because it really separates like the two from each other. Because I work at home, I know that like it can get really confusing to say like, when is your work time? When is your personal time? And how do you separate that? So that's kind of been nice to kind of like separate it, close the door, and then my work stuff is like in the back of mind. I'm literally always thinking about it. I have stress dreams about it. I literally was dreaming about doing this presentation last night, but it's kind of I always do that. Ow! Okay, well, this seems like a good place to wrap up. Anyways, that's kind of how I organize my life. Stay tuned to see if that continues, because I'm just getting into the swing of working a full-time job, a part-time job, running my business, and doing YouTube. So I'm just getting into the swing of that and living at home, which is definitely a new dynamic as well. Family time and living with my parents, which I have not done in 5 years. So yeah, that's basically my life for the moment, and my elbow really hurts. Okay. Oh, the other thing I do to stay motivated is just listen to a lot of motivational speakers. I don't know, it just helps me. It might not help everyone, but that's how I stay focused in the day. So yeah. I hope that helped. Just another tip if you're struggling motivation-wise. I often will just leave my phone inside. Now, I need my phone for phone calls a lot, so I'll like make sure that my watch is on and my ringer's on and just leave it like just inside in case I need to run in and grab it. But if I know I need to get like a good amount of work done, and I can just like sit somewhere and leave my phone either inside in another room, or I shared this tip in my exam videos and it so works. If you leave your phone literally sitting behind your computer, like on the table behind your computer, and you just can't see it, it helps distraction so much. So yeah. For the afternoon, I made this smoothie, as you can see, and then I just got back on with work. I like to change my work environments quite a bit just to kind of, I don't know, stay interested and motivated when I don't really have like a specific desk that I work at consistently, I guess. Then I was part of this webinar, which was super interesting. I really like that we get these opportunities through work, able to kind of expand my knowledge in environmental science again. Made a mini salad thing, I guess, and then yeah, these are the girls. You guys haven't seen my geckos in a while, so here's the girls setup. It's really funny having crickets around all day throughout the house that you can hear, but yeah. So today we had that webinar earlier, which went really well. It was actually really interesting. I miss being in school, so the lecture like format I don't really get anymore, so that was kind of nice to have. And then otherwise I had another meeting with my boss, which went well. I have a couple more things to do on my to-do list, like which will take me till like roughly 5 before maybe I'll eat like another snack or something before I head to Good Life. I'm kind of a bit nervous, but I think my stamina is going to be fine. Like, I think it'll be good. The only thing I'm doing today is I think mostly online training, because we're not actually open yet. Ontario moves to stage 3 on Friday, so yeah, this will be before anyone's actually in the club. But yeah, let me read a few pages hopefully before it rains, and also before my meeting. My books have been absolutely all over the place. I'm recording this voiceover way later when I'm reading a bunch of different things right now, but highly recommend Andromeda Strain. It was super, super interesting. This is me snacking in the backyard. I already am missing this really hot weather because we're already into fall at this point. Anyways, I got to Good Life and, well, I'm nervous. Yeah, I guess I was just nervous that day. I mean, I get nervous for any big thing, I'm sure, as anybody does, but I just wasn't really in the mood to close off this video, so yeah, I kind of just got ready for bed. I wanted to say thank you all for following along on my journey, and thank you for following my crazy life. I am, at this point, still working, like, my 2 jobs, Good Life, and working my full-time job, obviously, which I still really love. I'm still striving to get better at that every single day. It has been a little bit stressful, but I think sometimes you're just really hard on yourself, thinking you're not doing enough or having imposter syndrome, and that's something that I'm trying to get better at and recognize at this point. So yeah, I kind of wanted to stress that it doesn't really matter what you're doing for work and how much you're working. It's really, really relative how productive you are during the day. Nobody's productive for 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. So try not to compare yourself to others, and I hope you guys have a really great night. I'm clearly ready for bed, and yeah, I will be signing off right now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. I'll speak to you guys soon. Just remember, keep sharing those stories. Every adventure is worthwhile. Bye, guys.